Okay, well, we're going to call the meeting to order because it is 6:30 on Monday, January the 27th, and this is the regular monthly meeting of the Township Council for the Corporation of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal. And second item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I'll call on Deputy Mayor for the motion to approve the agenda.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that Municipal Council approves the agenda as presented.
Councilor, you've heard the motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And the next item on the agenda is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Are there any disclosures of interest here tonight?
None
by me.
None.
Hearing none, about to proceed to item number 4 on the agenda, which is delegations and presentations. We have none this evening. So proceed to item 5, which is approval of the minutes of the previous council meeting. Councilor Hunter.
Myself, second by Councillor Delva, municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the regular meeting dated December 9th, 2019.
Thank you very much. Minutes have been circulated. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes? Hearing none, I'm going to call the question, and then we'll deal with business arising. Those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Motion is carried, thank you. And now, item number 6 on the agenda. Is there any business arising from the minutes of that previous council meeting? If no one else has anything to bring forward, I'm going to bring one item forward, which is on page 3 of 7. And on page 3 of 7, we talk about the ICIP application. Can't remember just exactly where it is. Oh, there it is. It's in the center of the page. And I know that we've been assured that the staff has prepared and submitted the application for the 2019 intake. And I believe the deadline was January the 22nd, is that correct?
That is correct.
And we met that deadline.
We certainly did.
Good, thank you. And so that is going to be our 4th or 5th application for funding for the County Road 2 Sewer and Water Project, is it not? 4th?
Yes, I believe this may be the 5th, if I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
and this is being submitted under the ICIP program. And I believe it's called the Sewer and Water Stream, or the Green Energy Stream?
They call it the Green Stream, yes.
Green Stream.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking about that is that I would like to have a copy of that application, because I think that, first of all, I want to be sure that we can get that application to clear the province, because it is a federal provincial program, and the provinces lead on the program. I want to make sure that that application gets a good recognition from our own Member of Parliament. I'm sure that it will, but I just want to be sure of that. And then I want to make sure that it gets cleared through the next level. So if I could get a copy of that, I'd appreciate it. And just make a comment to other members of council. If in your travels or discussions you are afforded any kind of an opportunity to speak to any of the elected officials about this application, I would hope that you don't hesitate to indicate that, first of all, this application and its funding is really critical to that project, because the small number of people that draw on that system and who are responsible for the infrastructure of that system really cannot afford the cost of renewal that's in around the $2 million mark. So don't hesitate to relay the seriousness of this application, whatever opportunities are afforded to you. So moving beyond that, have I called the question? Yes, I have, and I'm just dealing with minutes now. So I'm on item number 7 on the agenda, which is the approval of committee meeting minutes of meetings held during the month. And the first is the Public Library Board, Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Hunter that municipal council receives the minutes of the Public Library Board dated November 26, 2019.
Okay, and then are there two sets of minutes?
Only one.
Okay, so this is the minutes of November the 26th.
Yes, it is.
Questions, if any? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, and then the Port Management Committee of November the 20th and December the 18th. Councillor Dillabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the municipality council receives the minutes of the Port Management Committee meetings dated November 20th, 2019 and December 18th, 2019.
Thank you very much. Now, those two sets of minutes are on the table. Questions, if any? Hearing none, about to call the motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And then item number 7C, the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance, Councillor Hunter.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Dillabaugh, that municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance Service Delivery Report, meeting dated January 6, 2020.
Thank you very much. Now, questions, if any? Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And this was the meeting at which we received the report of the Service Delivery Review, a very interesting meeting, and the council might just report that staff is working diligently to bring forward some recommendations resulting from that review. And item number 7D, Committee of the Whole, another meeting, Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Admin and Finance meeting dated January 13th, 2020.
Thank you very much. Now, discussion, if any? Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And item number 7E on the agenda, Committee of the Whole Public Works meeting, Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. It's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hunter, that municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities meeting dated January 15th, 2020.
Thank you very much. Motion's on the table. Discussion, if any?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
Page 107, 6A soil sampling on Dundas Street. Mr. Carey, give me an update on fuel spill there.
Yeah, actually, yes, I can give you a bit of an update. I had a meeting with the Habitat people on, I believe it was Friday morning. Yes, it was Friday morning. And the people the company that did the soil sampling tested has signed off and taken full responsibility for the area, and they did not notice any odor in the house.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm just, is that in your?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna bring one other thing to council's attention, and that's on page 4 of 7. And on page 4 of 7, under F, transition of the Blue Box program, you may remember that there was some discussion there about an AMO requesting a resolution rather. AMO requesting a resolution from council on the transition to the Blue Box program. And I just want to report that at the AMO, or at the ROMA meeting in Toronto recently, we did attend a session on transition to the Blue Box program. And again, even though it was a ROMA convention, or a ROMA conference, AMO was there to talk about this transition. And pointed out that these discussions have been going on for a long, long period of time. And AMO really would like to have a resolution from council as early as possible addressing the 4 or 5 issues that were outlined in the previous letter that we received at the Public Works Environmental Services Committee. So they did urge us to get the resolutions to them as quickly as possible and to make sure that the resolutions address those 4 or 5 issues. So I just point that out to the Chair of Public Works, hoping that we're gonna see that, that resolution in draft form at the next Public Works meeting. Again, it's a political thing more than a staff thing, and there are about 5 or 6 issues to be addressed, and those issues, they ask us to make sure that those issues were addressed by debate at the council table, and that the resolution reflected the result of that debate. So that is a sort of a job that they've asked us to bring forward. So
Note taken, Mr. Mayor, thank you, and Mr. CAO, I'll be sitting down with you on that.
okay, so those few words, I'm about to call the question on the minutes of the meeting. Those in favor? Motion is carried. And now I'm on item 8 of the agenda, which is action and information items that are coming forward from the committee meetings during the past month. And the first concerns the group benefit supplier change. Councillor Dillabaugh.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Cameron, that the municipality council approves the change of Great West Life to Sun Life as a township group benefits plan provider as recommended by the Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance.
Thank you very much. Motion's on the floor. Discussion if any. Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. Might also say that all of these items coming forward from the committee meetings have been discussed by council, so there'll probably be very little discussion here at the table, but we'll see. Item 8B, the Munisoft security system application. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Councilor Dillabaugh, that municipal council authorize the purchase of a security system application from Munisoft and designates the treasurer as the security administrator as recommended by the Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And the 2020 cost of living increase, Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor John Hunter, that municipal council approves the cost of living increase to salary for all full-time, non-union staff and to honorarium for council members by 1.89% retroactive to January 1st, 2020, as recommended by Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance and in accordance with established policy.
Thank you very much. Discussion, if any. Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And the item 8D, the 2019 work in progress report. And I have Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Deschamps that municipal council direct the treasurer to carry forward the funds from the WIP projects as identified below in order for the WIP projects to continue to be funded in 2020 as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance. Do you want me to read the?
No, it's not necessary. Okay, so there's only 2 projects that were not completed in 2019 that are being, the funds that were raised in 2019 and are being carried to 2020. Those in favor? Motion is carried. And item number 8E, response to the auditors. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Councilor Dillabaugh, that the municipal council authorizes the mayor to prepare and sign a response letter to the auditors as required for the annual audit as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance.
Thank you very much. Discussion if any. Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And item F, unopened road allowance follow-up. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Councilor Hugh Cameron, that municipal council, 1, direct staff to install 2 large signs indicating that the improvement improved road allowance off of Byers Road is non-open, unmaintained road allowance, and two, that the cost to create and install the signage be invoiced to the Dobies as the landowner who had made the improvement, as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Service, and Finance.
Thank you very much. Well discussed at the committee meeting. Those in favor? Motion is carried. And item 8G, the QMS commitment and endorsement motion, Councillor Dillabaugh.
Moved by myself and seconded by Council Cameron that the municipal council reaffirms its commitment and endorsement of drinking water quality management system for the Cardinal Water and Harrisburg Industrial Park water system, and authorize staff and senior manager to sign an element of 3 operation platforms and confirm endorsement as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Service, and Facilities.
Thank you very much. Discussion, if any? Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And items 8H, Industrial Park Water Budget, Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hugh Cameron, that municipal council maintains the current fee structure for the industrial park water system as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Public Works and Environmental Services and Facilities.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And item 8I, the truck 4 snow plow maintenance and 2020 plan, Councillor Hunter.
And myself, second by Councillor Carr, the municipal council authorizes the replacement of truck 4's turbo to facilitate a backup plow for the remainder of 2020 winter season as recommended by Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services, and Facilities.
Sorry.
Motion is on the floor. Discussion, if any? Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And item 8J, Spencerville Sewer Lateral Crossing, Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hugh Cameron, the municipal council authorizes the purchase of lands in Spencerville in accordance with the closed session discussion on January 15th, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the necessary documents as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services, and Facilities.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. And lastly, 8K, the 2019 Port Year-End Report. This is the Port of Johnstown. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council receives the 2019 Port of Johnstown Year-End Review Report.
Thank you very much. Well discussed at the Port Management Committee meeting. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And moving to item 9 on the agenda is the correspondence, and have Councillor Dillabaugh.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron that the municipality council receives correspondence listings for the following dates that's previously circulated. December 12th, 2019, December 19th, 2019, January 2nd, 2020, January 9th, 2020, January 16th, 2020, January 23rd, 2020.
Thank you very much. Just before calling the question, to bring you to the attention of our viewers that any correspondence addressed to township council or mayor and council is put in a correspondence package and circulated to all members of council as per these correspondence listings. And any member of council is at liberty to bring any piece of correspondence forward to a committee meeting for further discussion at their choosing. So the motion is on the table. Those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. And item number 10 is the approval of the municipal disbursement sheets. Councillor Cameron.
So thank you again, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dillabaugh, that municipal council approves the payments of municipal invoices circulated and dated as follows. Report dated January 21, 2020, in brackets 2020-00275, $270,995.16. Report dated January 24th, 2020, in brackets 2020-00003, $646,173.56. Report dated January 24th, 2020, in brackets 2020-0005, $245,009.47 for a total of $1,162,178.19.
Thank you very much. The motion is on the floor. The disbursement sheets have been circulated. Questions, if any? Councillor Cameron.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Or sorry, Councillor Dillabaugh, and then Councillor Cameron.
I just have a couple,
Page reference first, please.
page, page 3, Rideau St. Lawrence, we usually average 15,000 a month from, the Rideau St. Lawrence Hydro. We got a bill there for the Colonel Arena for November 1st, $34,522. Is there any explanation of what's so high? Because we got another one in December.
This is
On
from a
page
previous
1 and
sheet.
2, we're gonna have another one, Cardinal Arena, $19,556, and that's on November 12th, or December 1st, I mean. So we paid $34,44,55,000 in 2 months. Something is there an explanation on that, I wonder?
Without actually looking through the bills, that particular bill, I can't answer that question right now, but I certainly can review the invoicing and did let you know in terms of why there was such a large amount there. Now, even though it says Rideau St. Lawrence and it's hydro, it's a combination of hydro and water and sewer.
Yeah, I realize that, but we
So-
always average around 15,000 a month,
Yeah, so I can certainly
And
take a look
that's-
at that one for the 34 and see what's
and that's double.
causing them.
Okay, and I just have one on page 3, invoice 4841, I just want a little explanation. Mike's not here, so we have to write. Recreation Spencerville Rink Parts, 5,800,
No, just a minute, where are you again?
page 3,
Yeah.
on batch 2020-0003.
Batch 20,
20-0003,
and page 3 of that batch.
right? Invoice number 4841. 4 down, Rex Spencerville Rink Parts, 5,680. Do you see it, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I do.
I just want an explanation. I presume you can't give me one on that, or
I-
at this time?
We
No?
can't at this time.
No.
We'll follow up. for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you. I
Okay,
just have
and
one.
with the follow-up, we make sure all members of council are copied.
And then I have one more, I'm not gonna bother anybody else. January 24th, 2020, batch 2020-0003, page 6. Our Public Works loader, that month, $9,793 repairs, what happened?
No, just a minute, now, where is the invoice, or what?
Holders Tractors,
Holders, tractors, gotta find it, I got it. Which invoice?
well,
Oh, I see, you're
we
looking.
got all
All
4
four.
for the whole month, 9,793. Gord, do you have anything on that, what happened?
I don't have it with me, I do recall the receipts going through, but they did have quite a few issues with it.
But why? Like, just 10 grand in a month? Did we hit something? Did we?
Not that I'm aware of, just the wear and tear on the machine. It's a machine is, the upkeep's obviously quite expensive to upkeep. There's been some discussion over possibly when it's reached its lifeline as going to leasing rather than keeping this machine going. They're quite expensive to purchase.
What are we using the tractor for?
That's for sidewalks. The holder.
That's the sidewalk.
Sidewalk,
That's the sidewalk
clean.
plow.
Oh,
It's not, it's not a loader.
Oh, it's
No,
not a
no.
loader.
No,
No.
it's listed as that, but it's the actual sidewalk plow.
Kind of wondered
Oh,
why it
It's,
was holder.
it's a hold, yes.
Yeah.
It's a brand name.
The holder is
Sidewalk plow.
is the sidewalk.
Oh, I thought it was a
Yeah.
loader.
Yeah.
No,
That's what I thought, too, I seen a holder on it.
Oh, so it's just a sidewalk. Still, that's a lot
It,
of dough in
it,
a
it,
month.
it is a lot.
They're an expensive company to deal with, I can tell you that.
I know,
Looks like it.
I know, but if it's only being used as a sidewalk plow, and we've only had one or two major snow events, or three, I mean, this does seem like, I mean, $10,000 seems like a lot of money. Is it an old?
It is,
vehicle? An old piece
it
of
is an
equipment?
old unit. It, cheapers, is it 12, 14 years?
I think we should be asking about it.
Something tells me it's around the 2008.
Yeah, it's old.
What year is it?
I wanna say it's 2008, but it might be older than that.
I don't think we bought that brand new, did we?
Well, I think we did.
Oh, no, that's
Maybe
even
not,
worse.
maybe not. This might be the second one.
This last one might have been a second.
Okay, so
But we'll follow up with that.
several counselors want in here, so.
Yes, so with the concern that's being voiced there, would it be possible to see, you know, or have access to the work orders to see what kind of work's being done on that? It's $10,000 in repairs.
Okay, so I think we're being, staff is being asked to produce the work orders, please.
We'll prepare a report back, for sure.
That's fine.
Okay, okay, Counselor Khan?
Yeah, yes, and I just have a question. Actually, the very entry above the holder, which is Hansler, on the same page, page 6, Hansler. I see there's some invoicing. I'm just curious as to what, it says Public Works Cardinal, number 1, number 2. What is the designation of the numbers? It goes right up to number 6.
Yes, those are the overhead garage door units.
Thank you, okay.
So are we having that much trouble with overhead garage door units?
This is part of the annual maintenance program that we do to have them serviced.
Oh, I see.
Which is smart.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
It's an annual service.
It is an
Yeah.
annual service that we perform.
Well worth it.
For $72,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay, if there's no further questions on the disbursement
I
sheets.
still have some questions on
Oh, okay, go ahead, Counselor.
it. On page 4,
Now, which batch?
03.
Yeah,
the
page
batch we're
number?
looking at.
Yeah, page number?
Page 4,
Page 4.
right at the very bottom of the page for their public works for service loader 2 and failed battery loader 1 and then return on battery loader 1. These services and stuff, failed batteries in them, that seems like a lot of money, because then right over on the next page, we got another, on page 7, we got another battery for loader 1 being bought for $301, so.
So what's going on here? Where's the, one on page 7, where is that?
Is that on batch?
King Edward's Auto.
Right under King Edward Auto Parts.
King Henry Allen, right at the bottom,
Oh, okay.
number 2, battery Allen.
Yeah, 301. And there's, yeah.
It's over $1,200 for batteries.
Well, and the service call for $2,000? What's
Yeah.
the service call?
Loader two is the one that's still under lease, isn't it?
Loader two is no longer under lease.
Loader one's the one that's under lease?
Loader one is under lease, if I'm remembering correctly. We'll follow up on that. Take care of it.
Yeah, so the question is, if loader one is still under lease, why are we purchasing a battery?
Well, a battery is a wearable part. Yeah, but
Yeah, I get batteries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
that, like, looks like a lot of money for batteries for me, for a loader, so.
it certainly does. So,
I would think that they're two 12-volt batteries, I'm serious to make it 24 volts, so.
6, 9, 900, though, 350 each, 400.
we'll
Relates,
we'll
Mom.
check, we'll
Same size,
we'll check.
I imagine they're the same as the ones that's in the loader, in the pit, they're the same size that I put in my tractor, and they're the 301 for the one battery sound great from King Edward, but you got $900 over in Everpage for batteries, so that's $1,200.
Does it?
Should be only two batteries in it, I think.
So let's confirm and make sure that there isn't something else within
Okay.
that particular cost.
Okay, any further questions on?
I have one other question on the same batch number on page 5. Down under Goldsmith saw, the recreation paid $120 for skate sharpening.
I didn't get that.
Why are we sharpening skates?
Wouldn't that be for our machine?
No, that's ice blade sharpening right below it. There,
Yeah, ice blade sharpening, that'd be from the,
that's from the
I didn't get that
Zambonis.
one.
from the Zamboni.
I don't know.
I don't know why we'd be sharpening skates.
Yeah, we'll confirm that. I don't believe that we're sharpening skates, but it may just be labeled incorrectly.
I think it's blades, if you know.
Potentially, so.
And one final question on page 13 of the same batch number. The Royal Canadian Legion advertising, $290. What are we not paying for advertising for the Legion?
It's in a publication that we did last year as well.
It's a publication?
It's a publication.
Okay, so
the
it's
Legion
not-
puts on.
It's not this branch, it's
It's the bigger-
it's a provincial publication.
Yeah,
So we're just supporting the organization as a whole.
yeah,
Okay.
we did it last year as well.
Yeah, and is it something that's done, do you know, in connection with Remembrance Day?
No, I don't think it's specific Remembrance Day. I think it's more of a veterans
Oh,
thing
okay.
in a book for veterans or something.
Okay, fair enough. My goodness sakes, here comes the deputy clerk.
The public couldn't get in.
Oh, oh. Is the other door not open? The other door
Well,
not
I'm
open?
not officially working today.
Oh.
Somebody got dragged along unknowingly.
Okay, now, are there any further questions on the disbursement sheet?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so, I'm about to call the question on the disbursement sheets then. We've seen, the disbursement sheet has been read, the motion has been read. Those in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. And so now I'm at item number 11 on the agenda, the various bylaws that are coming forward from the committee meetings during the month. And the first is bylaw 11A, the Port Greenfield Global Agreement. Councillor Hunter.
Myself, second by Hugh Cameron, that mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute an agreement with Greenfield Global Incorporated on behalf of the Port of Johnstown, and this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Okay, and this had discussion at the Port Management Committee meeting. This is first and second reading, discussion if any. Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried unanimously. Please proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Cameron, that a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute an agreement with Greenfield Global Incorporated on behalf of the Port of Johnstown be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2020-01.
Okay, those in favor of third reading? Motion is carried again unanimously, and the bylaw can take force and effect. And now item 11B, which is the new cell phone policy. Councillor Hunter.
Moved by myself, second by Hugh Cameron, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to adopt the cell phone policy, and this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
And this is a cell phone policy basically for staff, members of staff. Those in favor of first and second reading? Motion is carried unanimously. It can proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, second by Deputy Mayor Dishaw, that a bylaw to adopt the cell phone policy be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, numbered 2020-02.
2020-02, third reading. Those in favor? Motion is carried. And now we'll proceed to 11C, which is the Fire Department Establishment Bylaw. And Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Dillabaugh, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to establish and regulate a fire department, and this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Okay, now again, just for the public who may be viewing or in our audience, it's not that we don't already have a bylaw which establishes and regulates the fire department, which we do, but council has revisited that bylaw, and they are about to enact a new bylaw which is going to be considerably more robust in some manners than the previous bylaw now in effect. And so for that reason, we're giving this new bylaw only first and second reading here this evening. Council has reviewed this in committee, made several recommendations for changes before it comes forward to third reading, which will be in a month from now. So those in favor of first and second reading? Motion is carried. It is unanimous, but, it's not unanimous. Oh, yes, it is unanimous, but we're only giving it first and second reading. That's correct, okay. Just not gonna proceed to third reading here this evening. Okay, so now I'm on to 11D, which is the 2020 Industrial Park Sewer Budget. Councillor Dillabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Cameron, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to impose sewer rates for users sanitary sewer systems on County Road 2 in the Edwardsburg Cardinal Industrial Park, and this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Okay, so this establishes new rates, I believe. Those in favor of first and second reading? Motion is carried unanimously, and this bylaw can proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Cameron, that the bylaw to impose the sewer rates for use in sanitary systems County Road 2 east of Edwardsburg Cardinal Industrial Park be now read a third time, final pass, signed, sealed, and numbered 2020-03.
And this is third reading on the rates. Those in favor? It's carried. And I believe, if I'm correct, council has asked to see a new budget for 2020 based on these new rates. Okay, and so now item number 11E is to appoint a Community Emergency Management Coordinator. Deputy Mayor Davis.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Hugh Cameron, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to appoint David Grant as the Community Emergency Management Coordinator, CEMC, and this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Okay, and discussion if any. Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. The bylaw can proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hugh Cameron, that a bylaw to appoint David Grant as the Community Emergency Management Coordinator, CEMC, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2020-04.
Thank you very much. And for third reading, those in favor? And of course, this bylaw is made necessary not because we didn't have one, but because the one we had is leaving. And so we'll thank her for a job well done during her tenure, and welcome Mr. Grant to another aspect of his new position. And I'm going then to 11F, which is to designate an overall responsible operator for the water and sewer systems. Councillor Dillabaugh.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the move be granted the leave to introduce a bylaw to designate an overall responsible operators for the wastewater and wastewater system of the Township of Edwardsburg, Cardinal Township. Constitute the first and second reading thereof.
Shut off the phone.
And get off the phone, Jack Bradley.
Don't phone me in the middle of a meeting. Okay.
Jack, please.
Okay, so this is first and second reading to appoint an overall responsible operator because our present overall responsible operator is taking on a new position. So those in favor of first and second reading, please signify.
Aye.
That motion is carried unanimously, and we can proceed to third reading. I guess Councillor Dillabaugh.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the bylaw to designate overall responsible operators for the water and wastewater system of the Township of Edwardsburg, Cardinal be now read the third and time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2020-05.
All right, so now third reading on the bylaw. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried, and so although the title is to appoint an overall responsible operator, I think we should note that Eric Wimmerman is going to be appointed, or has just now been appointed, the Chief Water and Sewer Operator for the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal, the overall responsible operator, and that the Assistant Chief Water and Sewer Operator, Aaron Campbell, is hereby designated as the alternate overall responsible operator for the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal, and that the Director of Operations, Gord Shaw, who previously held the position of overall responsible operator, is hereby designated as the second alternate overall responsible operator in the event that the Chief and the Assistant Chief Water and Sewer Operators are unable to fill their respective roles. So we have a new overall, we have a new alternate, and we have a new second overall operator. So congratulations, and I hope, Mr. CAO, you will pass on council congratulations to those people that are assuming new positions, and also thank the Director of Operations for accepting the position as a second alternate. So now I'm proceeding then to item number 11G, which is an amendment to the Personnel Bylaw 2015-22 concerning the clerk's position, and I believe that that is going to be Councillor Hunter.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dishaw, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to amend bylaw 2015-22 as amended to establish employment and personnel policy for non-unionized salaried and hourly rated employees of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal. And this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Thank you very much. First and second reading, discussion if any. Hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. It can proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dishaw, that a bylaw to amend bylaw 2015-22 is amended to establish employment and personnel policies for non-unionized salaried and hourly rated employees of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal. We now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2020-06.
Thank you very much. And third reading of the bylaw, those in favor? Motion is carried. And last bylaw, 11H, is the bylaw to appoint a clerk, Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Steve Dillabaugh, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to appoint Rebecca Williams as clerk. And this shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Well, first and second reading, discussion if any, hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. Please proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Steve Dillabaugh, that a bylaw to appoint Rebecca Williams as clerk be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2020-07.
And so third reading, those in favor? Motion is carried, and may I say, congratulations to the new clerk.
Congratulations, Rebecca.
Best wishes in your new position. And how pleased we are to have a local resident taking, and we've already had one, but it's nice to see the position remaining within the township. So best wishes in your new role.
Thank you.
And item number 12 on the agenda, moving on, is the CAO's administrative update. And I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let the CAO review his report and then open the floor for discussions. But first, I'll put the motion on the floor so that it's in front of me, and I think that that's going to be Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dillabaugh that municipal council receives the CAO's administrative report as presented.
And so, Mr. CAO, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll highlight under administration, under professional development, we had Wendy Van Coolen complete her primer on planning course. And also Rebecca Williams received her certificate in Unit 2 and 3 of the municipal law program. And I expect that Unit 4 will be coming shortly with respect to that. Under economic development, in partnership with local intel, we've recently launched the business and investment assistant on our website. So this is primarily intended for small and medium-sized businesses. So if you haven't had an opportunity to view it on our website, please do. I think it's a useful app, and we're quite pleased to undertake that 1 year free trial. Under the business fair, we're planning a booth by CDC for the event on March 8th and 9th. I'll defer to the clerk on the next one with the official plan. It's been a long one, so.
Official plan was approved by County's Council on January 23rd. The last day for appeal is February 12th. It's gonna be one of those great things I can cross off my list before I leave.
The interesting thing is, I'm gonna just pick up on that for a second. 2 applications for rezoning are expected immediately following the expiration of the appeal period. So those are just zoning change applications?
Yeah, that have been waiting for the official plan to be put in place so that that part of the process can be set aside. There were some minor changes to the official plan that will allow these OPs, or rezonings to go forward.
Great. And what was the date again for the end of the appeal period?
February 12th, I believe.
February 12th.
Yeah.
Perfect timing, I guess. Or maybe it was planned that way. I wouldn't dare to say. Mr. CAO, please carry on.
So under Treasury, as mentioned earlier today at the budget meeting, the draft asset management plan presentation is scheduled for council on February 24th. And under reporting, the annual reports on CWWF, federal gas tax, and Main Street revitalization for those funding programs, they have been submitted. Under recreation and facilities, Wild on the Fly Seniors Aerobics continues on Friday mornings at the hall in Johnstown. Sounds like good attendance, and the manager of recreation is summer program calendar will be ready and being worked on for March 1st. Under operations with respect to public works, normal winter operations, so as we mentioned earlier, it seems to be weekends seem to be the time for the events. So crews have done a great job over the last month with respect to the road cleanup and also cleanup in the business sections. So we also have spent a fair deal of time with brush and tree removal following that ice storm in December. With respect to environmental services, the annual risk assessment has been completed, and there's a tabletop exercise scheduled for February 11th with Ministry of Environment and the Health Unit planning to attend. As mentioned earlier, we have submitted the application under the Green Stream for the County Road 2 water and sewer. Under operations with respect to municipal drains, we did have the quarter revision that was held on January 15th. They upheld the assessment schedule, and we're in the 21-day appeal period as of now.
Can I interrupt you just there for a
Certainly.
second? The court of revision on January the 15th, I did intend to be here, didn't make it. Was there any member, or were there members of the public present for that court of revision?
Just the individuals appealing.
And that
That
was it?
was it. There was nobody else from the public.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Fire Department, 2020 recruitment kickoff took place January 8th, and we'll finish up May 2nd with a live fire training exercise at the Leeds Thousand Islands Training Center. Draft fire safety plans for Cruise Rail, Greenergy, have been received and under review. And the fire safety plan review and update has been completed for the two county facilities at 240 Helen and 33 Bennett Street. And under emergency management, we have received word from our field officer that she has reviewed our submission and recommending that the township receive compliance for 2019.
Okay, very good. So now I'm gonna open the floor for questions, and Councillor Cameron, and then Councillor Dillabaugh, and then Councillor Hunter. So let me just get that down. Cameron, Dillabaugh, Hunter, and you want in?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, and then I'll put myself next. Okay, so Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have it's a question of confirmation regarding the arena in Cardinal, the Ingredient Center. I've received a complaint from an individual regarding the walking track. Two issues. It seems to be open, and anybody can use it at any time without a pass key or without a pass code. I was under the impression that the walkway was always locked, and you had to have a key of some nature to get into the walking track. And this was brought to my attention because there was several people watching a hockey game, and the person who was walking was under the impression they weren't supposed to be there. I'm just curious, has something changed that I'm not aware of? That the track is open at all times now?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that at this particular moment, but I'll certainly follow up.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Has that issue not been raised before?
The issue with, I believe the individual that Councillor Cameron is referring to is the same individual that raised that a week or so ago.
It could very well be the timing is correct.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm finished, thank you.
Okay, so I have Councillor Dillabaugh next.
I just want to confirm our dates on the business fair. It says March 8th and 9th. I look at my calendar, that's on a Sunday, Monday. Would it be the 6th and 7th, I wonder? Friday, Saturday? It was last year, that's all.
I would anticipate that it is a Friday and Saturday, so I may have the incorrect dates down.
Thank you.
So we can get a correction on that?
We certainly will once I can.
Okay,
confirm.
so just gonna mark that dates. And, Is that it, Councillor Dilwell?
Yes, it is, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Hunter?
At the Court of Revision, I believe it's around the 5th of February when the appeal process runs out.
I believe it is the
They
5th.
appeal to us, or do they appeal to the tribunal?
The appeal would come to the clerk and then forward it on to the tribunal. It is to the tribunal.
Yeah, so have we had any appeals filed yet, or?
We have not received any appeal as of yet.
Okay, and, under the fire department for recruitment, it says we've 5 new recruits. How many, personnel have we got in the fire department? I thought we had a limit of X number of people in each department on there. We seem to be getting a lot of new ones lately. I thought we just had a while ago, we got 6 or 7 new ones, so.
Yes, but if
Yeah.
I can jump in here.
Certainly.
What's bothering me is we are taking on a fair number of new recruits, but they seem to be dropping off as fast as the chief can bring them on. It's very discouraging because I know he works very hard to get new recruits in and to get them started on their training program.
I know, I just wondered where we're standing for
Yeah.
complement of.
I don't think we're anywhere near complement yet, mainly because of the number of drop-offs,
I want to say we're somewhere between 45 and 50.
where I can remember numbers like 54.
Yes, I want to say that it was 25 and 25 would have been ideal at each station for a complement of 50, but 3 or 4 years ago, or, well, it might be longer than that, you may recall that I brought up an item that we shouldn't limit it to a specific number. We should make sure that we have adequate forces so that we can be up to 52 or 54 where it may be in the short term, because the reality is that
So we don't have any set,
we don't,
Numbers
there is no set.
used to be
limit
24 and 24, so.
or something of that, 48 or 50.
So maybe at the next PW meeting where the chief comes forward to report, just have him bring forward a kind of a review of where his complement stands as of, let's say, December 31st or something like that.
Yes, I would anticipate that would be part of the quarterly report. I think it was on the last quarterly report.
That's yours? I just have 1 or 2 questions. So I'm on page 1 of the report where we're talking about economic development in the third box, or second box down. We did manage to acquire that small piece of land at the corner of Edison and County Road 2. And so now we've got a contiguous 1.35 acre lot. And I'm wondering if the outgoing clerk can tell us how that looks with regard to a resale. You got any update on that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did speak with the individual company that's interested in purchasing and provided them with updated information, and I know they've done some soils testing. I haven't heard back from them, but we're still in contact, so.
Okay. I have 1 or 2 other questions here. One of them was that when we finished our budget meeting earlier tonight, we didn't actually set a date for the next one, but I see from your report that we've actually set a date of February the 6th
That is
for
correct.
the next
5.
budget meeting.
That was something before.
That was set before. What we didn't do is set 2 meetings in advance, but we got 1 meeting set in advance. Okay, so we can attend to that. Now, on page 3 of 3, under the fire department report, and I'm looking at the 4th box down, the draft fire safety plan for Cruise Rail, Greenergy, has been received and is under review. I spoke to the chief just before he left. Is there something missing from the application, or do you know at this point?
I believe it was not a complete application, It was received on the previous Friday, or the Friday before the chief was going on vacation. He did do a quick turnaround and indicated that some additional documentation was required. I'm not sure if that has been received yet.
I see, okay. I noticed that they're still not, that the Greenergy side of things is still not up and running. Okay, and Deputy Mayor, one last chance?
Nope.
No, okay, and so,
Mr. Mayor, I can update you, I did have the wrong dates down for Business Fair. It is March 6th and 7th.
March 6th and 7th, good catch, Councillor Dillon. So change it to March 6th and 7th. And you had another one?
Just clarification, it just came to my attention when the mayor was talking about economic development in the second box. We have acquired a small piece of land in the corner of Edison. Just a clarification here, is it Edison or Edson?
Edison, Mr.
Edison.
Yeah,
Ed?
Edison.
Oh, it is Edison. For some reason I had Edson in my mind, sorry. Okay, thank you.
You were thinking of the Ed Sol, were you?
I think so.
Okay, so I'm about to call the question that municipal council receives the CAO administrative report as presented. Any further questions? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried, thank you. And so now I'm at item number 13 on the agenda, which is council inquiries or notices of motion for the next meetings. Anyone have anything to bring forward?
Just myself, Mr. Mayor, I just have two, the resolution regarding the blue block box, I'll go over that with the CIO, and it'll be on the next Public Works meeting. And the chief to review the staff of volunteers, I'll make sure that's discussed with the CIO and on the agenda as well.
Thank you very much. Councillor.
I have two. I have one, we got a cooler there at the hall, and Johnstown's not working.
A what?
A cooler. It's on the plank, and we're gonna be busy this month. We got 2 dances, 14th, 15th, and we got a wedding in March, so I wonder if maybe you could get Mike to have someone look at that, please. And I asked you last week about shoveling, when it's being rented and so on. And we rented it out yesterday, Windmill Breweries, and it was full of ice and snow. I shoveled it though. Could we maybe just take care of that when it's being rented? I don't know if we have somebody.
Well, yeah, I guess through that, if it's being rented, are they picking up the key and giving notice at the office here, so that so as far as we're concerned, that we know that it's being rented on that day?
Well, no, probably not, but it's in the community counter, I mean.
No. That hall's to be reserved on our website, is it not?
That's right.
Yeah, so if it's reserved on our website, we know about it, but if it's in the Sarah notes, nobody knows about it.
No, it's on our website. We've been, Windmill Brewing's been renting it every second Sunday and every second Thursday.
No, I think what you're hearing though is that they're not filling in the request forms.
I'm not, so it's on, so it's
Okay.
on the calendar?
Well, I've taken it for granted they're writing it every other Sunday and every other Thursday. I don't,
No,
Let me confirm that.
Okay. Sure.
Because there is a program in place that if it's being rented, that staff is there to shovel out those walkways. So
yeah.
it just seems strange to me that.
I'm afraid what's happening is that the Windmill Brewery is making an arrangement with the Sarah. And somehow.
No, this has been all through Mike, because he rented, Mike gave him a good deal, because we rented it so much, every other, that I do know.
Yes, but it's not up to Mike to update the form that's used to reserve facilities. It's up to the renter. I mean, Mike can give them a rate, but it's up to them to to make the applications. And they can't just make one application that says every Sunday and every Thursday. At least that's not the way I read our reservation form.
I don't believe, I believe it's set up for each particular.
Could be a communication
And
problem,
it could, and
And that's
it could
what
be,
I heard
that's
about.
what-
and maybe it is, I just kinda like to correct it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
Yeah.
I brought it
no, I
up
understand.
last week, and then I went
Yeah.
again yesterday, Thursday, I brought it, on a Thursday it wasn't done, then they had it Sunday, yesterday, and it wasn't done, so, and we just had 2 storms,
yes.
Well, that's a communications problem,
so
I think.
maybe it is.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
And I don't believe, I'm not sure, Councilor Dillawa, sorry to interject there, but I don't believe anyone from Windmill Brewery's been in to pick up a key from us, which normally comes with a sheet of paper that outlines their emergency contact info for the township and anything that, so.
And I think they're getting it, you're right, I think they're getting the key from Sarah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they didn't have the information of who to contact,
There's, yeah,
because it didn't come through our process.
thank you.
Yeah, communications problem. I was kind of, when you first brought it up, I kind of was worried that that might be what was happening.
Thank you.
Are there any other council inquiries or notices of motion before I move on? Okay, we're about to move on to item number 14. Item number 14 is the mayor's report. I'll attempt to be brief, but there are several things. So as I reported earlier at the budget meeting, but I'll report it again for the council meeting and for the council minutes. The county council did pass their 2020 budget at the meeting last Thursday, and the budget was passed as a balanced budget with a 0.3% decrease in the county tax rate. So the details of the county budget will come out in the form of a press release from county in the next week or so. Also wanted to report that county council was informed by the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing that county has received a $120,000 grant from the ministry for the purposes of conducting a regional fire service delivery review. So that's a county-wide fire service delivery review. Now, the money has to be spent and the review completed by June the 30th. And I'm just flagging that as an item on this council's meeting because I would like, and I've spoken to the CAO about this, that the purpose of this review be clearly understood and interpreted to the volunteer members of our township fire department. These are the kinds of things that can get our volunteer members very upset, and these kind of reviews can get off to a bad footing if our volunteers perceive them to be in the wrong direction. So again, I'm dependent on the CAO and the chief to interpret this initiative, this county initiative, to our volunteer staff in a manner which will relay any concerns which may arise. Moving on, I just wanted to recognize Councillor Cameron's presentation to our delegation with the Minister of Transportation at the Roma Conference. So Councillor Cameron, myself, and the CAO attended with the Minister of Transport, Honourable Carolyn Mulrooney, to discuss the fact that we're only paid for about 50% of our 401-416 fire service calls. Now again, this is about the 5th or 6th minister that we brought this matter to the attention of, but I do think that we had a fair hearing, although the problem is that we do not have enough 400 series highways fire departments behind us to reinforce that meeting with the minister. We're one small municipality, and I think we're probably the only municipality crying foul on this issue. So nevertheless, we've put our best foot forward and pointed out to the minister that, we've opted into their program whereby they invoice the insurance companies when there's a service performed, and they just act as an intermediary, collecting from the insurance company and paying to us. But when there's no OPP report made out, there's no insurance companies listed, we don't get paid. But at one time, the ministry had in its budget a line item to recompense us for those calls, because even when we send out a $300,000 piece of equipment and use it as a blocker, it has been reported to us that that is not deemed to be a service, and we're not reimbursed for that call. So I think that fact that we do those kinds of things and not get reimbursed, that did catch the minister's attention, although I must admit that she was, I think you'll admit, Counselor, very well briefed by her staff ahead of time. They knew what to say to us.
Yes, yes, she did, and she also pointed out that she was a new minister as well. However, that could work in our favor. A new broom makes a clean sweep, so who knows what's gonna happen. Hopefully, it'll work out.
So I've asked the counselor to keep this item on his plate. We will get another opportunity, not saying that we'll take advantage of it, but our next opportunity, of course, would be the AMO convention in Ottawa. I think it may be too soon to go there twice, but we'll keep our files updated.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, so item number 4 on my report, I just want to bring council's attention, I'm not necessarily endorsing this, but there is what's called a meeting workshop being organized by the Township of Elizabethtown Kitley. And because it's being organized by Elizabethtown Kitley, I wanted to bring it to your attention, more because they're the organizers than because of the presenters. And the presenters are, of course, Nigel Belchamber and Fred Dean, who are terminating in the near future their relationship with AMO. And so I guess that this workshop would be one of their last presentations, but it will be held March the 3rd from 8:30 to 4, and I bring it to your attention in case one or several members of council should wish to attend. I also wanted to report to this council and to this meeting that Councillor Cameron, myself, and the CAO did meet with the folks at Infrastructure Ontario in their offices on Dundas Street on Tuesday, January the 21st, concerning our Cedar Grove Road Ontario Job Site Challenge application. Now, we also met with them about the disposition of leased land to farmers. So we had 2 major asks of them. The first was that some due consideration be given to the land that the farmers are leasing now. And we pointed out to them that those farmers have been leasing that land for 20-some years. They've brought value to that land insofar that it hasn't degraded and grown up in weeds and brush. And therefore, not only they should have first chance, but that should be taken into account at the appraisal stage. They've asked us, and Councillor Hunter, I'd appreciate your help here. I believe that there are at least 2 appraisers in Ontario that are well respected in the farming community as being appraisers of farmland. And if I could get the names and the contacts for those 2 appraisers.
One in Cornwall and others down there in Alexandria.
If I could get those 2, they would like to have them. And I don't know the credentials of those individuals you're talking about, but they do insist on AACI, which is accredited appraisals.
They're accredited appraisers. They appraise for 2 or 3 of the realtors that sell around here. They appraise for them, so.
Okay, so if I could get those from you, they would like that passed on. So the second thing we talked to them about was the job site challenge, which they were not really aware of. And we urged them to become familiar with it. And I guess the main ask that we had was that we wanted to be sure that that property didn't get disposed out from underneath us. They see great opportunity to work with us to enhance the value of that land. We've made it very clear to them that we do not aspire to make any profit on the sale of their land. Our benefit resulting from the Ontario Job Site Challenge, should it occur, will come in the form of jobs and economic development within the region. And that's sufficient for us. We're not trying to make money on their land. And that seemed to bring to them some sign of relief, if I interpreted them correctly.
And tax base.
And tax base. So they seem to get some comfort from that, and they did offer to work with us. And Will Plexman, the manager that we met with, did indicate that he would bring our presentation to the attention of his VP, and that he would be organizing meetings with his VP. So I think the first way that they can really help us is by giving us permission, and I'll relay this request to the CAO, giving us permission to enter upon their lands for the purposes of doing some soil testing, some very basic soil testing. Say up to 10 boreholes someplace. And if they could, that will be a good test to see whether they're prepared to work with us or not. And there's, needless to say, there's some implications here for us. I think we made it very clear to them that any monies that we do spend in helping to enhance the value of their land, we would expect to get that money back. Although we're not expecting to make money on the improved value of the land, we would like to get any cost money back. And in connection with that same theme, the CAO, Mr. Grant and Ms. McKinstry, and I met with our engineers of record, Novatech, at their offices last Thursday to enlist their assistance with the completion of one aspect. We started out dealing with one aspect of the Ontario Job Site application form. Now, we had a long-ranging discussion. They seem to have a pretty good grasp of the dimension of the scope of the work we were asking them to do. But at one point, they did ask, would we expect them to just deal with one aspect of the application, or would we expect them to lead the application? And the CAO has asked that they lead the project with support from the CAO and from the staff and from the mayor. So they are at the stages now of preparing a scope of work, timing and costs. So we will have that scope of work before council, I think, at the next meeting. Well, the next meeting of the Min-Finance for sure.
February 10th, yeah.
On February 10th, but I'm hopeful that they will be well underway prior to that, because I think we've agreed as a council that this is a priority for us, and we're prepared to take money from the Industrial Park Development Fund to cover our costs. Two last things. In regard to the business retention and expansion plan conducted by county, and that plan has now been finished. As you know, Augusta had nominated themselves into a sort of a higher level of involvement in that program, and as you know, they asked for a meeting with us to determine what follow-up actions might be taken as a result of that business retention and expansion program. So we've heard from them that they will be organizing a follow-up seminar on Friday, March the 21st at the Merck Hall in Maitland, 8:30 till noon. And I think I've circulated that notice to everyone.
March 20th, Mr. Mayor?
March 21.
Mr. Mayor, I believe it's February 21st.
February 21. I've got it in my calendar for March 21.
That's Friday, February 21st. March 21st is on a Saturday.
Oh, well, then it's the February then.
I believe-
My mistake.
I believe it's February 21st.
Okay, good catch, and I'll change my calendar. And one last thing, just so everybody knows about it, United Shorelines Ontario is holding a high water talk at the Brockville Arts Center on Monday, February the 3rd, from 6 to 8:30. Now, they've asked all of the mayors to speak. Now, that's the date of our CDC meeting. And that's also the date of the meeting I've been asked to make a presentation in Prescott. So I've begged off on this high water talk organized by United Shorelines, and I'm explaining why. And I know that there's going to be lots of criticism of the local mayors for not being in attendance, but I've seen now responses from about 6 local mayors saying, sorry, though that is the date of our regularly scheduled council meetings, we can't be there. And so I just want to make that clear and in public why this mayor is not going to be there. So that's the end of the mayor's report, and I'm looking forward to the motion to receive the mayor's report as presented, and who's got that?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Steve Dillabaugh, that municipal council receives the mayor's report as presented.
Good, thanks very much. Discussion, questions, hearing none. Those in favor? Motion is carried.
That's it.
And so now, I'm at item number 15, which is the question period. No questions.
Are you sure, Rebecca?
What am I getting myself into? Item number 16, the closed session, we have none this evening. Item number 17, the confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor Shawn, the bylaw to adopt, confirm, ratify matters dealt with by resolution be now passed, signed, sealed, number 2020-08.
Thank you very much. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And then lastly, the motion to adjourn, Councillor Dillabaugh.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Cameron, that the municipality council does now adjourn at 7:51.
Those in favor? Motion is carried.